You're old and Greek. You sound. Hi, you're listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive. I am Shelby.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Shannon.
Woo.
Yay!
Go team.
Alright, so.
This is the second one we're recording in a row, so we don't have anything fun to say.
Nope.
I have an ice pack on my knee.
Hannah's still dying as usual, as is Shelby, as is Shannon.
Don't
We are all dying.
worry about
Ooh,
it.
Shannon's on my notes. You can see how trash they are.
I always follow along with notes or something. I have to follow along
you're
with
an
something or I
overachiever,
get
though,
distracted.
so-
Yeah.
What, Hannah?
I said you're an overachiever.
Yeah, I know. No, I just get distracted if I don't have something to follow along with.
Alright, so today we are going to be talking about The Exorcist.
Yay. Is
Yep.
this the one that
The
was...
movie?
What?
Wait, what?
You're both talking. Yes, the movie, but also the story that it is based on.
Oh
Okay,
my
is this
God,
the
I
one
love
that's-
all of these things! Sorry.
Is this the one that was in St. Louis?
Yes.
How did we both pick St. Louis things back to back?
I don't know.
Of course we fucking did
Yo, I
that.
have a story about The Exorcist when we get to it.
Okay.
But, okay, I love the entire movie franchise. Prequel to The Exorcist is probably my favorite of the Exorcist movies.
Really? Interesting.
Yes. Have you
What-
seen it? It's
Which
so
one is the
good.
prequel? I've never seen
It's
any
called
of these.
The Prequel to The Exorcist.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've
Yes.
never seen that one. Okay.
It might have another name, but it's something, The Prequel to The Exorcist. I'm gonna look it up.
Interesting. All right.
Alrighty. Good to
You'd
know.
like it. It's all history based. It's how the demon came to be, and it's all about like World War II and shit.
Oh,
Prequel
okay.
to the.
Shannon doesn't watch
Exorcist.
spooky things, so.
As we've discussed
Oh, that's
multiple
true.
times.
It's called
Yep.
Dominion. Prequel to The Exorcist.
Yeah.
I have never seen that.
Yeah.
2005. It's so good.
Have to watch it. Okay.
I will not,
Anyway.
but you guys have fun with that.
Oh, I will, and I have, and I love all of the Exorcist movies.
So basically, I'm not really talking about like the movie itself. I'm talking about like the set and the actors and the like curse that kind of surrounds the movie.
I do know this.
And then I am also going to talk about like the story that it is based on, the like real life story.
Cool.
So,
Wait a minute.
what?
Nothing. Keep talking. I'll let you know.
Okay. So all of my information came from, well, first of all, I found the story. I mean, I already knew that the Exorcist house was blah, 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 was in St. Louis. And I planned on doing this at some point. But then the girl that I work with, who is a funeral director / embalmer, sent me a Snapchat the other day, and her mask had Reagan on it. Like Reagan when she's in like all bloody and demon form and whatever.
Oh, that's nice.
And she was like, I don't know why I'm getting so many weird looks in Target. And I was like, okay.
3 guesses.
But it's her favorite movie, and I saw that, and I was like, oh yeah, The Exorcist house. Let me look that up. But the first website I was on was the onlyinyourstate.com, and it was like all the local
Stop
St.
it,
Louis
stop it.
stories.
That's a great
Peppa's
site.
typing
It
on the
honestly is.
computer.
Like, I've found lots of interesting things there. It's
Hannah,
fun to
are you
just
okay?
scroll through.
Peppa's trying to destroy life as we know it.
Okay.
As per usual.
Did I send
All
you
right.
the
I'm
bite
just
in
gonna
my
keep
hand from her?
talking.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just didn't know why she was screaming, so I didn't know if we needed to
Well,
stop
she
or
jumped
like.
up, tried to hit my microphone, and then stood on my keyboard, and things started beeping on my computer.
Okay.
Cool.
Are you still recording on Audacity?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
That's all we need.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
But yeah, so that's where I got like my initial information, and that's kind of they just do like a broad overview of it kind of, and how it relates back to St. Louis, for the original story. Because the movie is not based in St. Louis, and they didn't film it here or anything, but like the the family and the kid that it's like all based off of, that story occurred in St. Louis. So, and then I used Wikipedia for both like the Exorcist movie and like the curse and stuff related to that, and then also for the original story. And then I also used, what is this website? AmericanHauntingsInc.com, and then the 13thfloor.tv.
All right.
I don't know, I basically just like Googled it, and this one guy was like, I've been researching the curse around the movie for 20 years, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, if you say so. So some of the information came from that. And then, I mean, I did verify it with other websites, but
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, those are the main ones that I used. So we are going to talk about the movie first. Hannah is sending stuff to us. Okay. So basically, The Exorcist movie is considered to be one of the greatest horror films of all time, and I will say that it is, honestly, especially given the time that it was made, like, just storyline wise, and like it's a very good movie. Very spooky. I watched it when I was 8, and I do not recommend showing it to children. I was also alone by myself. I was like at my aunt and uncle's house, and they just like put it on, and they went and did like yard work or something, and they were like, here, watch this movie. And I was like, hey.
One time my mom left me at some friend's house. They were like out on the porch, I don't know, smoking or something, and they put on The King and I, except it was like I think it was The King and I, except it was the real people version. So it starts with like a forest full of children being executed.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh.
this is tragic.
Yep.
I'm 5.
But also, this is the same aunt and uncle that, like, the other time I stayed with them, they put on The Ring. So, like, they're very big into, like, let's just put on spooky things when we babysit this child, I guess. It's fine. I totally grew up fine.
I don't have anything like that, but I have my uncle who left us in cemeteries all the time, so there's that.
You say all the time. I thought it was just the one time.
No, it did happen more than once. The main one was on Halloween.
Yeah.
And then his son also did it to us multiple times. It's fine.
It's cool.
This is why I'm afraid of cemeteries now.
It's cool.
It's fine.
Anyway, so I mean, it's basically one of the greatest horror films of all time. It earned 10 Oscar nominations in 1974, and it was the first horror film to be nominated for the Oscar for Best Picture.
Well, that's even just like horror films don't get nominated for Oscars.
I was gonna say, like, horror films,
I know,
generally speaking, unless they're more of like the like thriller, psychological type.
Yeah.
Just a straight horror film usually doesn't get nominated for anything.
Yeah.
But this one has such a good storyline that I think that's what really...
Like, it's a really good storyline. It's very well structured, and it's very... I mean, it does have very good, like, psychological aspects to it.
Yeah, wasn't it the first time that that they use subliminal messaging in film?
I believe so.
Because there's, like, all the sounds in it are subliminal messaging, and then there's that thing that flashes across the screen.
Yeah, it's like they...
That, like, scary face.
Well, and the thing is that, like, they don't necessarily admit to subliminal messaging.
That's what it is.
And, like, the stuff in, like, the thing that flashes across the screen... I kind of get into it a little bit later, but basically those are things that they didn't... According to the, like, production crew and director and stuff, they didn't intend to put those things in there. They just happened.
Okay.
Basically...
A scary face just appeared?
Basically, here, let me find it in my notes. What did he say? Blah, 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 blah. No, I don't want that one. All right, I'll just get to it later when I find it. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, they don't necessarily admit to, like, the subliminal messaging, but it's there.
We'll get to it.
Yeah. And then many people, including the people involved with the movie, believe that the set was cursed, or just the movie in general. due to multiple problems that occurred during the filming. And it eventually got so bad that some priests were called in to bless the cast, crew, and set. By the time the filming had ended, 9 people associated with the film had died.
I didn't know it was that many.
Yeah. Some of the associations are a little bit tangential, but they're still there.
Yeah.
And so it is interesting, especially with everything that happens on set as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's for sure weird because that's a lot of people, but
yeah.
So the first incident that occurred was a fire that broke out on set at 2:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So no one was there except for one security guard. And he...
And the devil who started it?
Yes. But, so no one got hurt because the security guard, I mean, he's the only one there, so he was able to get out. So no one got hurt, but the entire set had burned down except for Reagan's room, which is interesting.
Nope.
Like, her room was, like, perfectly intact, but the entire rest of the set was burned down and had to be rebuilt, and that caused a 6-week delay in filming.
Yeah.
While they rebuilt it.
I have a question about just the logistics of this movie. Is her room where that scene of her, like, spinning her head around and all that, is that where that happens? Okay.
Yes. Most of the movie takes place in her room.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of it.
Cool. Thank you.
Especially when they get to, like, the exorcism bit, that all takes place in her room.
Yeah.
Okay.
When she's possessed, it's, like, all up in her bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's, like, one scene where she's, like, in a hospital and possessed, but...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you talk... Shannon, you can cut this out, but Shelby, you talk about the murderer who's involved with this?
No. There's a murderer involved with this?
Yes, a serial killer.
Oh my god, okay. We gotta get into that then.
Oh shit, okay.
I feel like I know about that, but I don't remember the details.
Can I say it really quick?
Yeah, just go.
Yeah,
just go.
I won't cut this. Just go for it, yeah.
So, the scene where she's in the hospital getting that...
Oh wait, I do know about this, but I'm not talking about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the scene where she's in that thing, they just had the guy... I don't know what device it is that she's getting that test done at the hospital, but the guy who is running it was an actual employee of that hospital, and that was like his actual job. And it turns out that he was a serial killer. He killed like 6 people, 6 men, in like, I don't know, he it was like a weird thing. He would like date them and then murder them, kind of a thing.
Yeah, you're right,
But
you're right.
Anyway, murder.
It's so weird that in all my research that didn't come up. But I did also, like, kind of, like, gear my searches towards, like, the curse in general.
Yeah.
Or, like, specifically, so...
I just Googled it.
They were called something really insensitive, the murders, so I'm not going to say what they were.
What do you mean?
Like what the police called it.
Oh, okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, I just Googled it just so we had the info. His name was Paul Bateson.
Yeah.
He appeared as a radiological. Yeah, I can't say words like that. Technologist in a scene from The Exorcist.
Technologist?
Not the technologist, the radiological.
A radiology technician?
It's radiological technologist is what it says on Wikipedia.
Okay. Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it was the 70s.
Yeah. He was convicted of the murder of film industry journalist Addison Verrill, I guess, and sentenced
I forgot he also murdered someone famous.
to a minimum of 20 years in prison, and he was released on parole in 2003.
What?
Wait, I thought he killed more people.
Maybe
I'm mixing up 2 of my favorite murder episodes. I might be wrong.
He's often inaccurately described as a serial killer.
Okay, sorry about it.
No, it's fine. He did
murder
someone.
someone.
Yeah, like he did murder someone. Like that's still noteworthy, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right, Peppa?
Sorry, I'm
yes,
just skimming.
Thank you for that input because
he
was nowhere in my notes.
Yeah, he was suspected of others, but they were never able to tie him to any, is what it was.
That's probably what I was thinking of.
Yeah, so... Still, there's a murderer. It's still really weird, so, yeah.
Yeah, so that is also tied to this, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, not I guess it is, but... Anyway,
I
moving on.
suppose.
I'll allow it if we're going for Shannon's terms. Yeah, so the set burned down except for Reagan's room, 6-week delay, yada, yada, yada. So apparently the fire was caused by a faulty electrical circuit. One of the sources said that a pigeon, like, flew into the circuit and, like, blew it up, which I have seen happen.
Yeah.
When I worked at the orchard here, our power went out for, like, 2 days because a bird flew into the breaker and it blew up, and it happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the fact that it was, like, right before they were about to start filming and the whole set burns down and causes a 6-week delay, like, that
Except
sucks.
for the room where all
right,
the
except for
exorcism stuff
the
is.
demon room.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And then as soon as they finished rebuilding the set, the sprinkler system malfunctioned and, like, went off, and that caused damage to the set as well, and that caused another 2-week delay.
Oh my god.
While they fixed those parts of the set. So, yeah. Well, I would imagine after the fire they probably had to put in, like, a new sprinkler system as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's still just weird.
right? Like
It seems
the
like
moment
the
you finish it,
you
the
have to
sprinkler
redo it
system is
again.
like, nah.
Yeah. Well, and then it seems like the universe is trying really hard to delay them. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
Maybe
Like,
don't
honestly,
film
if I
this
was that,
movie,
like,
just
film crew
saying.
or whatever, I'd be like, I think they're telling us something here.
Yeah. Hannah, what were you saying?
I'm saying maybe don't film that movie, just saying.
Yeah.
Maybe don't summon demons on a film set, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe listen. But yeah, so that's what happened, like, to the set and everything. As for the actors and crew, many of them faced difficulties and strange occurrences throughout the filming and for a little while after the filming. So I'm going to talk about some of the actors and what happened to them. So, Max von Sydow, I believe. He played Father Marin in the movie, and right when he got to New York to begin filming his scenes, like, pretty much as soon as they touched down, he got a phone call, and it was the news that his brother had unexpectedly died in Sweden. So that happened, and so, of course, that delayed filming, and it's just weird, the timing of it. And then later on throughout the filming, he, von Sydow, actually became extremely ill himself.
And that's the old priest, right?
Yes. I believe so. Yes, yeah, that's the old one. And, like, he didn't end up dying, but he did become, like, extremely, extremely sick and had to be, like, hospital, like, bedridden kind of stuff. All right, and then Zak Bagans played Burke Dennings, and his character in the film, spoiler alert, but the movie's been out since the 70s, so get over it.
Yeah, that doesn't apply anymore.
Right. But, I mean, I guess. So Burke Dennings actually dies in the movie, and he is killed by the demon that is possessing Reagan. So 1 week after they filmed the scene where his character dies, he died. Like, the actor died.
Oh, no.
So, basically, he had been in London, and at the time, London was facing a flu epidemic. And he had caught the flu and, like, recovered from it, but then he died from complications from that.
Weird.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that one. And then Jason Miller played Father Karras. Am I saying that right?
I think it's Karis.
Karis. Okay, Father Karras.
Because that's my cousin named her child Karis, which is the only reason why I know. It
Weird,
means,
but okay.
like, I think it means it's a Greek word for something.
Yeah.
Because he's Greek. No shit. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
I think it means friend. I could be wrong. Or love or Jesus or something. I'll look at it.
No, it's fine. Whatever. Yeah, so Jason Miller, the guy who played Father Karras, he while they were filming, he got a phone call that with the news that his son had been on what was an empty beach, and then out of nowhere, a motorcyclist appeared
What?
and and hit his son.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's freaking horrifying.
Like,
Oh
why
my
is there a
God.
motorcyclist on a beach? Why are you hitting the one child on the beach?
How old was his son?
Means Grace.
It did
Karis
not
means Grace.
say, it just said he was young.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
Do you think young means like child or young as in like young adult?
I'm going to go with child.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's not that old.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that was the young priest in the movie. So.
Okay, gotcha.
But the son did survive, but he was in critical condition for quite a
Yeah.
while. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just weird.
Right? Like, it's just weird. And then Ellen Burstyn played Chris McNeil in the movie. She had one scene where she was slapped by Reagan when she was in, like, her possessed state.
Mm-hmm.
And during that scene, Chris McNeil, like, gets thrown back due to, like, the force behind the slap.
Mm-hmm.
The stunt didn't quite go as planned, and so Ellen actually ended up throwing out her back so badly that she had to be on bed rest for several weeks. She like ended up in the
that
hospital.
you hear in the movie, like the screams of terror that she's screaming in the movie, are actually because she just fucked her back up.
Yeah, that was my next note. It's that, like, the scream she let out
Sorry.
during the scene in the film was her genuine scream of pain. And they ended up using that take in the film because the screams sounded so genuine. Also, they couldn't refilm it because her back
She
was
was
so messed up.
broken.
And she still has problems with her back
Yeah.
from that. So,
Once you fuck up your back, you never unfuck up your back.
that is true. Can confirm. It's just messed up for life.
Yeah.
Occasionally, a chiropractor can help for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They can de-hump you, as my mother likes to say.
Oh, we're going back to the de-humping. Okay.
Episode 1, getting de-humped.
Right. Refer to episode 1.
With our terrible, terrible audio.
Yes. That we cut down from 4 hours of recording
God, that was stressful.
in my living room. It was a
Huddled
time.
around one laptop.
From the
Look.
floor.
We've kind
come
of
so
figured
far.
it out now. It was a test.
Yeah. It was a
I know.
test.
It was the first
Yeah, it's
episode.
good.
We had a learning curve, okay? It's
Yeah.
fine.
I'm tired of being nostalgic. Move on.
Anyway, okay, so the next one is Vasiliki Maliaros, something like that. She played Father Karras's mother, and she was actually just some, like, random person that the director pulled off the street in New York.
Hey, you look like a Greek mom. Be in
Yeah.
our movie.
Yeah, she was, like, eating lunch at a Greek restaurant or something that, like, her family owned or whatever, and the director was there eating.
funny.
And he was like, "You're old and Greek. You look
She
good."
was probably like elbow deep in spanakopita, like just
Right?
baking like
Just,
a mad
like,
woman,
making
and he's like,
gyros, and she's
"Yeah,
like,
you
"All
gotta
right,
do
I
that."
guess."
This reminds me, the way you said that, it's a Friends line that's like, so, you're old and small.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, so she ended up dying during post-production and never actually got to see the film completed. Her death is listed as being from natural causes, and she was rather old, so probably, but it is one of the deaths that is associated with the film. So,
My
Hers-
cat is on my desk actively trying to bite me, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
okay, have fun.
Don't.
All right.
Yeah, her death is the least,
Just put your
Odd.
foot on my tongue.
like, statistically, you know what I mean? Like,
I can hear Peppa in
I know.
the background. Just like yowling in anger. The rage.
hopefully it's loud enough that I can keep it.
I love it.
Oh, man. Ugh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, her death is kind of like the one where I'm like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's sad and associated with the movie,
Well,
I
yeah.
understand, but, like, she was old, so it makes sense.
Yeah. And it was something, you know, a normal thing. Whatever it was normal enough to be listed as natural causes.
Yeah.
Did you just hear Hannah?
Yes.
She sounded like a
Okay,
ghoul.
You're back.
You were so
Alrighty.
fuzzy when you just screamed fuck that you sounded like a ghoul.
No. Because I ran over my headphone cord twice.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
Just a little upset.
We could, like, hear
like,
her in the background, just,
Yeah.
like, the
Screaming, being
rage
a
scream.
bitch. She was trying to bite me. And I was like, hi, this is my house, my room, my desk. You can get the fuck out.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Hurts.
my
Her
lord.
little cat
Ugh.
paw went on my tongue. Did you hear me say that?
No.
Like, full cat paw on my tongue.
Ew.
I feel so gross right now.
Oh, man. Oh, Shelby, I was talking to Allie the other day about how you're gonna move with me and how you're gonna take your cat with you, and she was
Yeah.
like, you know, like, it's a good thing that, like, Yuki has her claws, because Macy will try to play with her constantly, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Macy's gonna be in for a hard couple weeks before she figures out Yuki doesn't want anything to do with her.
I was
I
gonna
think
say, like,
Macy will
Yuki
have-
loves to play, but I don't know how she'll be with a dog that wants to play with her, because Tucker, like, kind of does, but he's scared of her, so I don't know how that's gonna go. but
Tucker's
it's gonna
got
be
the right
real
idea.
And that's the thing,
interesting.
we're gonna have supervised playtime for a while, because I don't know if she wants to play with cats in the same way she wants to play with dogs, or the way she wants to play with squirrels, so, like, we're gonna have to monitor.
Yeah, it's gonna be, for a while, Yuki will be, like, kept in my room or whatever, and
Yeah, we're
it'll
gonna have
for
to do,
sure
like,
be, like,
the slow
supervised.
introduction with supervised playtime.
Yeah. Okay, so the next cast member was Mercedes McCambridge. She wasn't, like, pictured in the film, but she did the voice of Pazuzu, which is the demon. And basically, like, she didn't die, but her son murdered his wife and children
Whoa!
before taking his own life.
Holy
Okay.
shit.
So,
I
like,
didn't know that.
So they've had, I mean, I guess he wasn't in the film, but now they've had multiple murderers either be in the movie or associated
like,
with
related.
it.
Yeah, and, like, he murdered his family in 1987, so it was, like, a
It
good
was
10
later.
years after the movie
Yeah.
came out, but still.
Still!
Shit.
My goodness.
That's-
I gotta say, it, like, because Pazuzu is Zozo, right? Like, that's the
Yeah.
same. Yeah, it's, I
Yes.
feel like, I don't know if I would want to risk voicing Zozo.
Right? And, like, even just, like, being in the movie, if you know anything about Zozo, like, I'd be like, no, I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. Thanks. Like,
For people who don't know, Zozo is, like, the biggest, like, worst Ouija board demon you can ever hope to encounter. Like, it's,
yeah. Like,
Bad.
it's bad.
yeah.
You
So,
don't do it.
Yeah.
That is why I don't mess with Ouija boards. Actually, I
Nope.
have multiple reasons, but that's one of them.
Yeah.
'Cause I ain't doing it.
Nope.
But yeah. So, that happened.
Yeah.
And then Linda Blair, the girl who plays Reagan, she, during one of her possession scenes, she was, like, thrown from the bed. And it's because, like, they had rigging in the bed to kind of, like, make it shake or, like, pick up off the floor and stuff like that. Because that's one of, like, the signs of possession and whatnot. And during one of those scenes, she was actually, like, thrown from the bed because the rigging broke.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up hurting her back like the other lady. And she, again, like, she still has problems with her back to this day from
Yeah,
that
'cause
one
she was
scene. And
little
she
when
was a
that happened.
child, so, like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then also, after the film's release, she actually received so many death threats from people that the studio had to hire bodyguards for her for the next 6 months.
Why did they send her death threats?
Because she was a possessed demon. It was something about, like, she was, like, worshiping the devil or, like,
Y'all,
the Antichrist, and like she's a child actor who just played in a movie. Like, get over it. But
it's the same thing as like we kind of talked about in our insurrection rant. Like, people need to learn the difference between reality and fiction. Like, God,
yeah, it's like she's playing a character. It's not that
Yeah.
she believes that, like, she's not actually possessed by
and
the
even
devil.
if she does, how Christian of it. Like, that's not a Christian act to send death threats to people.
Exactly.
Like, holy shit.
Like,
Seriously.
why wouldn't you want to help her? Like,
Yeah, like,
I don't, yeah. It's a thing. But yeah, and she got so many of them that they had to hire bodyguards for her. Like, she's a child.
how old was she? Like, 12 or so? Or was she
That's
younger?
a good question. I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like I should, but I don't.
I'll Google it real quick while
Yeah.
you continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really all that happened with, well, actually, no, Linda Blair's grandfather did end up dying as well.
She was 14.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, she's from St. Louis.
Oh,
Interesting. All right.
also did not know that, but here we
But
go.
Reagan was 8. Or not 8, 12.
Okay.
I was gonna
Get
say,
that
there's
number.
no way she was 8. Okay.
Where
Gotcha.
did you get that number?
Okay.
Anyway.
That's
But
not-
yeah, so Linda Blair's grandfather did end up dying, and so that is also one of the deaths that is associated with the film, but only in the tangential way is that, like, he's related
Yeah.
to her, sort of thing.
Like, during the filming, he died?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So say, like, yeah, everyone's parents and grandparents die.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. No, it was like during the filming. So for the crew, one of the carpenters on the set accidentally cut off his thumb while he was
Yeah.
working. And then
Be
one
a
of
better
the...
carpenter.
What?
Nothing. I take it back.
Okay.
That's very
I'm
good.
gonna hear it later anyway.
Oh my
I
gosh.
said be a better carpenter, but then I felt bad about it.
Oh, goodness. Well, this is the one that really gets me. One of the lighting technicians somehow lost a toe while he was on set.
Ugh.
Like, you're a lighting technician. What did
Probably
you
dropped
do?
something
Probably
on
dropped
it.
a heavy thing
Yeah,
on it.
Probably dropped something on it.
Probably, but yeah. So one dude lost his thumb, one dude lost his toe. And then they had to do some filming on location in Iraq. That's when they were filming the stuff about Pazuzu.
Watch the whole prequel to The Exorcist. It all takes place there. It's crazy.
Okay, I will watch it at
Also,
some
it's in the
point.
second Exorcist too, but there's a lot of gross bugs in it, so that's why I don't like that one so much.
Okay,
Anyway,
I'll watch the prequel. I can't guarantee I'll watch the second one.
the second one's not that good. The prequel is great.
Sounds like a plan. But yeah, so they were filming on location in Iraq. It was originally planned that they were going to film those scenes in the spring, but because of all the setbacks and delays and everything, the trip was moved to July, which is the hottest part of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the
Yikes.
desert. So there were 18 crew members that were sent there, and 9 of them dropped out over the course of filming due to either dysentery or sunstroke.
Oh, God.
Holy
I
shit.
wasn't expecting dysentery to be part of the equation. Sunstroke,
Yes.
yes.
They went on the Oregon Trail.
Right. That was my first thought. I have that, like, book where it's like, and then you died of dysentery. And it's just like the funny, like, sayings with the pictures from the Oregon Trail or whatever. But if I had made a PowerPoint,
Oh,
that was
excuse
going to be the picture.
Yeah, I was expecting sunstroke. I was not expecting dysentery.
Yeah, but that's like half their crew.
Sucks.
Yeah, that's literally half the crew.
But yeah, so that happened. And then the bronze statue that they made of Pazuzu, the demon, it had to be packed in a 10-foot crate and shipped to Iraq. But
Okay.
it got lost in the air shipment and somehow ended up in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Can you imagine that poor
I know.
person in Hong Kong who opens that box and is like, what the fuck?
Right. But yeah, so it ended up in Hong Kong, and that caused a 2-week delay in filming again.
Oh my
So-
goodness.
Yeah, I think they said it ended up being, it was like, the filming took like 9 months or something, and it was originally supposed to be like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
It was something ridiculous like that, but
Yeah, filming's not supposed to take that long.
no. Especially since like only some of the scenes, it's a very short part of the movie takes place in like the desert and whatnot, and so it's not like they had to like film on location and all of that, so most of it was done on a set. But yeah. Okay, so basically things got so bad and spooky that the director called in two priests, Father Thomas Birmingham. It said Thomas Birmingham S.J. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming something Catholic.
Something Jesuit? I don't know.
Well, yeah, because he's from a Jesuit
then
residence, so
Jesuit.
I assume it means something with that.
Society of Jesus.
Oh, okay.
I googled it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Shannon's doing my research for me because I'm trash at it.
Well, it's not like necessary. It's
just one of those
since
things
we
where
brought
I'm
it up.
always like, oh, I'll look that up later, and then I never do.
Yeah.
So
Since we brought it up, I figured I would Google it.
I couldn't tell you. They're all like that. Like the one in Ruma is like the sacred blood of the dead Jesus. It's like really upsetting,
Yeah.
the title of whatever those nuns are call themselves.
honestly, I think when I wrote that, my thought was, I don't know what that means. I'll ask Hannah because she's the Catholic here.
Yeah,
So.
listen, I don't know anything about. I don't know. Nothing.
I don't know.
But yeah, so they called in Father Thomas Birmingham and then Father John Nicola. And they were unable to perform an actual exorcism because no one was possessed. Like, the set's not possessed or anything. But they did give us
Also, you can't perform an exorcism without
Permission
like,
from the...
proof.
Yeah,
and
you have to have proof and
you
permission.
have to get permission. Yes,
Yeah.
I do know that.
From
Yeah.
the bishop? Yeah?
No, not anymore.
No?
From
What is it now?
Rome. You have
Oh.
to like go to, I don't know, I could be saying this completely wrong. However, we do exorcisms like in the mass for certain things. So like when a kid is baptized, everybody stands up and we do, it's basically a mini exorcism, and what they say is like, do you reject Satan? And everyone's like, hell yeah. And then we're like, all right, cool, get the holy
Yeah.
water. That's the entirety of it. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, but like this kind of exorcism,
this
you
kind of
have to have
exorcism to
permission.
like remove a spirit
Yeah.
or whatever.
Did it
is
used to be
different.
just the bishop, or am I getting that mixed up with something
It was
else?
probably like, yeah, I mean, it depends on the time and the place. And,
Yeah, that's
you know.
true. Okay, ignore me.
It also depends on whether it's an actual like priest or just one of those like the guys that Ghost Adventures use.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm talking about specifically actual
Chip
priests,
coffee.
not
Oh,
lay
no, they don't
people
invite Chip coffee.
doing an exorcism.
Not Zak Bagans' Exorcists.
Yeah.
No offense, Protestants, but I think your exorcisms are such bullshit. Like, if you're not chanting in a different language, what's the point?
If it's not in Latin, it doesn't count.
If it's not in Latin, it's garbage.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Also,
my
the Zak
opinion.
Bagel Bites goes too, and that's why we drank. That's not my.
Yeah.
I did not come up with that.
Nope.
What?
The
Zak
name,
Bagel Bites,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that's why
yeah.
we drank. Came
I
up with
didn't
calling
even
him
realize you
that.
called him that, because that's what I call him anyway.
I know.
Right?
Me too.
Like it's so bad that it's to the point that like that's just what I call him now.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
what I
like
call him.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Zak Bagans from Ghost Adventures, though,
Yeah.
which I do love that show dearly because
watched
it is
every single episode
so
of it.
bad and it cracks me up. So, anyway, but yeah, so they called in these two priests. They weren't able to perform an actual exorcism, but they did give a solemn blessing while everyone from both the cast and the crew were present on set. And then after they gave that blessing, nothing else happened on set. So, obviously there were a couple like other deaths, like post-production and things like that, but on set specifically, nothing else happened.
Weird.
But at the time of the blessing, like at the specific time that they were giving the blessing over this set, the Jesuit residence where Father Birmingham was from caught on fire.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
So,
The
There's
pre-storm
that.
room.
yeah.
No, that's what it is. It's just...
But yeah, so...
no, that's so sad.
No, it really is. It's the pre-storm room.
I'm not joking. I'm telling you what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when, like, the nuns have their little home.
Their sorority.
Yeah. Their little
Just
convent.
kidding. A nunnery.
Yeah, the nunnery.
I used to teach Sunday school in a haunted convent.
You did.
I did. You've seen it. There
I
are many
have.
bird
It's
skeletons
very
in there.
spooky. Be spooky.
It's all spooky.
But yeah, so that's kind of like what happened. Some of the other deaths that are associated with the film. Linda Blair's grandfather, I said that one already. The assistant cameraman's wife had a baby, and then that baby actually ended up dying. Yeah, it's real sad. But it wasn't like a stillborn, like it was like a couple weeks later. So
It's really sad.
yeah. The man who, so when they do the possession, I don't know why I can't say that, scenes in Linda Blair's room, or Reagan's room, it is, like, they film it so that you can see her breath, and the way that they used to do that is that they would just, like, refrigerate the room, and have you sit in this freezing cold room so that they could see your breath. But the man who was in charge of refrigerating the set, he passed away. And then the janitor on set, one night when he was leaving work, he was shot and killed.
Oh.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
and like they don't really know what happened there. They like never found the guy or anything, but yeah, so
Mhm.
or woman, I don't know.
Statistically.
Notorious
neither.
murderer. What?
I said or neither.
Yeah.
Right? You know, it could have been the demon. You never know.
Statistically,
Someone
though,
meant, oh
it's
my god.
probably a dude.
Stop.
That's not what she
I meant
meant.
a non-binary person.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh my god. Or you know.
Oh,
Please check
man.
the box. Are you male,
Look, it could be a
female, or
non-binary
demon?
person. It could be someone who's gender fluid. I don't know, okay?
It could be a non-binary demon. Who knows?
I mean, most demons I feel like are.
Statistically, though, it was a human male.
Yes.
I mean...
Not a space. Non.
Could have been the aliens, you never know.
So, you might be getting into this. Do we have, like... I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Compared to other movie productions, I'm assuming this is an abnormal amount of
It is,
occurrences?
yes.
Okay.
Poltergeist
It
was
is.
very haunted too, though.
Yeah. Like, compared to other horror movies, this is actually kind of normal.
That's so weird.
But, like, to a general standard, like, film set, this is very abnormal. Like,
Compared to Casablanca,
Right.
it's out of control.
Yeah.
It's just... to have that many, like, deaths and weird occurrences. Like, obviously, if you're filming for an extended period of time, things go wrong, sets get ruined. But... yeah.
Comparatively, it's a lot.
Comparatively, this is abnormal, for sure.
Okay. Well, because I was just thinking, like, yes, this seems like a lot, but if in the grand scheme of things, maybe this is the normal amount of weird occurrences for a movie. I don't know. And then we just honed in on
Right,
it,
and
'cause
then,
it's
like,
The
yeah,
Exorcist,
some of them
but-
can be chalked up to, like, they were old, or they got sick, or, like, whatever, but
Yeah.
just the fact that there's this many that can
Yeah.
be tied back to this film
Yeah, that's
specifically,
weird.
and since the content of this film is so dark and everything, yeah, it's definitely not normal.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to ask
Yeah, because,
that
I mean,
before
like, people
forgot.
get injured on sets all the time,
Oh,
sets
yeah.
get ruined all the time, like, things happen,
Well, I mean,
but,
there was, like...
yeah.
I'm just thinking... There was only one incident, but, like, there's an episode of The Twilight Zone where some people got decapitated by a helicopter. Like, weird shit happens, you know? So, like...
Right, yeah, like,
Yeah.
but to have
My
so many
third
weird
grade teacher
occurrences.
told us about that
Why on
helicopter
earth
thing.
did she tell you that?
And she, like, described it to us in detail. She's like, if you ever get in a helicopter, never stand up because this is what will happen to you. And we were like, what the fuck, Mrs. Platzkesser?
What?
At least I
Oh
think it
my
was her.
goodness.
It might have, it was probably Miss McCormick.
I don't know. There's no way to know.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
We'll never know.
We'll
Oh
never
my
know.
gosh.
I could call her up right on the phone right now. It was Catholic school. I still know them.
That's true.
I like how we're like 45 minutes in and I haven't even gotten to the real story yet. Okay.
I know, I'm so excited for it because of I'll tell you later,
Okay. Cool. But yeah, so during post-production, there were a couple of funky things. This is what I was talking about that I was going to get into that I couldn't find. So basically the director claimed that, and this is a direct quote, there were strange images and visions that showed up on film that were never planned. There are double exposures in the little girl's face at the end of one reel that are unbelievable.
Ew.
So basically that's the one where it's like the face flashing on the screen. Supposedly that was like they found it in post-production. They never planned it. It just happened.
I don't believe that for a second. Because that does not appear anywhere else in that film.
Yeah, see, I don't know. The director claims that it was not planned.
Yeah, he's full of shit.
But he also claims because he had recordings of like an actual exorcism that had occurred of like the screams and stuff, and he was sued by somebody, or like the studio or whatever was sued because she claims that like the subliminal messages from those recordings, and he says that he didn't use those recordings from the actual exorcism in the sounds for the movie, but they're there. So, I don't know.
They're also the sound of, like, either bees or lions or something scary like that.
Yeah, there's, like, this weird, like, buzzing, like which that was intentional. The weird, like, buzzing sounds and stuff like that. Like, because subliminal sounds are common in horror movies nowadays. I believe this was the first movie to use it, but I'm not positive on that. Don't quote me. But yeah, they use like the sounds that to the human ear you can't hear it, but you feel it.
But it like produces a feeling in you of like
danger. It's kind of like
brain.
You know how like there's like a dog whistle and you can't hear it but the dog can. It's like sounds that we can't hear, but it causes a reaction in your body, and the reaction is that it like increases your heart rate, gives you that like fear reaction.
The bees and or the lion
the kind of like fight or flight reaction. It kind of like does that to you. But yeah, like any sort of like buzzing, because those are like danger sounds to us.
Growling.
Yeah. But yeah, and they use it in a lot of soundtracks nowadays, especially with like thrillers and horror movies, but because it's a way to get that like fear response without having to do like a jump scare or something like that. But yeah, the director claims he didn't intentionally put in that one frame, but I'm not sure I believe that. But either way, it's there, so whatever.
Yeah.
So the film opened on December 26, 1973, and basically, like, as soon as it opened, stories started pouring in of film goers who were fainting, hallucinating, having severe bouts of vomiting, like some were having seizures, some reported intense nightmares, and then some of the theater ushers actually had to be put under a doctor's care, or they just straight up quit their jobs after multiple showings of the film because they just were getting so sick every time. And then in numerous cities where they were showing the film, all the major hospitals, like there was a newspaper reporter or whatever that went around to all these major hospitals and cities and basically kind of like looked at their records, and it showed that when the movie came out, like all of these major hospitals had a spike in patients that were suffering from vomiting and hallucinations. And there were some reports of audience members having to be carried out on stretchers. At one showing, a lady became so frightened that she actually passed out and broke her jaw. She ended up suing the filmmakers, claiming that the subliminal messages in the film caused the accident. So she's the one who like claimed that. And basically that was like settled out of court. They just gave her like a lump sum or whatever. But so as for the movie itself, it was based on a book of the same name, The Exorcist, by William Peter Blatty. He wrote it based on the true events of an exorcism that took place in St. Louis in 1949.
Yes.
So, Blatty did change the names and the gender and the setting of the characters in order to respect the family and the real victim, because they wanted it all to remain anonymous. Like, to this day, you cannot find out what the kid's name was.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, like, one of the best kept secrets. But, but yeah, so he changed the names, obviously. It was a 13-year-old boy from Maryland, and he turned it into a 12-year-old girl, things like that. But as far as, like, the exorcism part and all of that, it is very much based off of this event. So the real-life exorcism was performed on a 13-year-old boy from Maryland. His real name's not recorded anywhere, but in reports of the event, he is referred to as either Roland Doe or Robbie Mannheim.
Mm-hmm.
They're just made up names that they... Yeah. I will be using Roland Doe just because that is...
You're not going to go with Bobby Mannheim Steamroller?
Yeah. Well, Roland was the one that seemed to be, like, the most prolific throughout the reports. So that's the one I'm going to go with. Yeah. Also, it was just the first one I read, and I was like, we'll go with Roland.
Yeah. And
that sounds like a 1949 name instead of Robbie, because I know a couple Robbies, and that's just weird.
Yeah.
So...
The exorcism itself took place in St. Louis, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he was from Maryland, but the exorcism took place in St. Louis.
Okay.
So allegedly Roland had an aunt that was a spiritualist. Basically, it was like they lived in Maryland, and then at some point, because we don't know the family's name or anything, knowing the history and the accuracy of their family history is a little suspect, but apparently at some point they moved to South Africa, and like his only friend was his aunt, and so he would like hang out with her all the time, and then they ended up moving back to Maryland. I don't know exactly the timeline of all of that, or even again the truth of all of that, but he had this aunt. She was a spiritualist. They hung out all the time, and when they hung out, she would teach him about her spiritualist stuff. I don't want to call it the occult, but I don't have a better term off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And then she taught him how to use a Ouija board.
Great.
So.
Great activity for your child.
Right, yeah. These are just fun babysitting
Listen, when your aunt
times.
Pops out the Ouija board, it's okay to say no.
Right. Please say no. Okay, just don't do it.
I don't know what's her name. Aunt Matilda. Let's not.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so then his aunt was traveling at one point, and she was in St. Louis at like throughout her travels, and she ended up dying suddenly while she was in St. Louis.
Okay.
And I couldn't
find
find anything.
With a planchette in her hand.
I couldn't find anything that said what she was doing in St. Louis or how she died or any of that. Just that she died suddenly and she was in St. Louis. That's all I got.
It was the 40s or 30s. It could have been anything.
Right, and whatever.
Yeah.
But after her death, Roland began to act strange, and the family began to experience like weird occurrences. They would hear like these strange noises, kind of like demonic noises. I can speak English. The furniture would move on its own, and then whenever Roland was like near a vase or something like that, it would either levitate or it would fly across the room.
Great.
So,
and so I'm sorry, real quick. This was after his aunt died?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So basically his aunt died, weird things started happening around Roland. Yes. So basically like he wasn't like fully like Reagan type demon possessed yet. It was just like he started acting a little weird, like wasn't feeling good, And then these weird occurrences would happen whenever he was around, sort of thing. So up in Maryland, he underwent multiple exorcisms. They actually moved him to Georgetown, which is not in Maryland, but
It's in the DC area, right?
Yeah. For some reason, I did not put that snippet in my notes. Anyway, whatever. They moved him to Georgetown to perform multiple exorcisms on him, and they were performed by a Roman Catholic priest, Edward Hughes. Allegedly, during one of the exorcisms, Roland slipped one of his hands out of the restraints, and he broke a spring from under the mattress, and then he used it as a weapon and slashed open the priest's arm, which ended up halting the ritual. But
wonder why.
Yeah, but that's one of those things that they've actually gone back and done research on this, and they actually can't find any record of that. And the priest didn't have any wound, and they think that the priest basically made that up, the story up, because he couldn't finish the exorcism, or didn't know what he was doing or something. I don't know. Basically, there's no record of it whatsoever, and there's anyway. So it may or may not have happened, we're not sure. But one day the word Louis, or Louis, whatever, appeared carved into Roland's stomach in raised letters. So his parents took that as a sign that they needed to take him to St. Louis to figure out what was wrong with him.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, well, that's where his aunt died, and she was the spiritualist, and clearly we need to go to this city.
I mean, I kind of see it more in that context, but still, why would you listen to the demon to,
right.
Can you imagine?
Let's take him to this city that the demon wants him to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Hannah?
If, the St. Louis tourism board just, really grabbed onto that and, everywhere people had Louis carved into their stomachs.
Right. How do you know the demon wasn't talking about some random dude named Louis? You don't know.
Yeah.
But no, they connected it to St. Louis, and so they decided to take him to St. Louis to try and figure out what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
It is getting very dark in my room. Okay.
Yeah. Also, just with Georgetown is in DC. I checked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I didn't know.
Yeah.
So hey, look at that. We're learning today.
I thought it was in Virginia.
Yeah, I did too.
I always thought it was Virginia.
It's in DC.
Cool.
Fun fact.
Now we know.
Yes. So they traveled to St. Louis. Once they got here, things started to get worse for Roland.
Well, yeah, they listened to the demon.
Right? Duh.
We use Louis and Louis interchangeably, BTW, because, well, I do at least, because of the song Meet Me in St. Louis.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm just St. Louis, just in a, kind of ironic way, but now it's, part of my vocabulary.
Well, and I just never know, that is, the correct French, the French pronunciation is Louis.
Yeah.
So I never know, what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
especially when there are, humans named Louis/Louis, I never, until they say what their name is, I never know which one is correct.
Which one are you? I don't know.
Are you fancy or are you basic?
Yeah.
Right.
Are you French or are you the bastardization of French? Which one?
Right. Okay.
My kneecap is exploding.
Your what is exploding?
Her kneecap.
Oh. I just heard cap and I was like, cap what? I didn't understand what cap meant.
My hat.
Yeah.
Keep up.
Oh my gosh.
Well, then I thought maybe you said cat, so I was just really confused.
No, I locked that bitch out after she tried to bite me.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so once they got to St. Louis, Roland began to experience his bed shaking, carvings in his skin, demonic noises, etc. Your typical demon possession nonsense. His family took him to the SLU hospital, the St. Louis University Hospital.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I don't remember why, but that was one of my doctors was there. I don't remember which
I've
one.
been there. I think that's where my gynecologist is.
It's not where mine is.
maybe? I don't know. Whatever.
I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
But yeah, so the St. Louis University Hospital, and they quickly referred him to the rectory of the St. Francis Xavier College Church, which is located on SLU's campus.
Okay, but the St. Francis Xavier, I don't know if it's a cathedral or what they call it, but you know that big white church over by SLU?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so freaking gorgeous.
It is.
I love it.
Yeah.
I drive past it slowly all the time.
Yeah.
My friend Kitra lived right next to the basilica for for like
so
2
jealous.
years. And like every time I had to like drive past the basilica to get to her place, and every time I did, I was like, it's so pretty.
I drive past the Cathedral of St. Peter and Paul in Belleville all the time because one, I used to go to school there, and two, I just think it's such a fantastic building. Also,
Look, the Catholics
all the
have great
bishops are buried
architecture.
in there. Yeah,
That's
we're good at we're good at building churches. Okay, so like back off.
Also,
They got that going for them.
SLU's mascot is a demon.
True. The Billiken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a little.
He's a kind of
devil.
demon.
It's a
Yeah.
little demon
Yeah.
alien creature thing. They call it a Billiken. I don't know what that means. They don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what
Nobody
that means.
knows.
Right.
I'm sure somebody
Okay.
knows. We don't know.
Right. So, yeah, so the hospital referred him to the rectory of St. Francis Xavier, and then the rectory then moved him to the Alexian Brothers Hospital psychiatric ward.
They're really just trying to not deal with this kid.
Right. They're all like, I don't know what's going
Do
on,
you
but
want
you deal
Demon
with him.
Boy? No.
Yeah.
But while he was in the psychiatric ward, that is where they started to perform the final rites of exorcism.
Okay.
So, basically, it took a total of 4 weeks worth of exorcisms to rid Roland of his possession. The priests involved were William S. Bodern. He was the main one performing the ritual, and then there was Walter Halloran and William Van Roo, who were both there to assist.
Okay.
William Bodern and William Van Roo were the two who were initially called in. Walter Halloran was called in afterwards to assist because they needed extra help, basically.
Wait a second. Can we go back for a minute?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so that place that you said is it the Alexian Brothers?
Yes.
Yes.
That building was torn down, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We will get there.
The cross. Oh, can I talk about that yet?
I mean, if you want to, go for it.
Okay. The cross from the top of that building is at the City Museum, or at least it was, because you know how they have that
Yeah.
Yeah.
weird. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, for everybody who's listening to this,
We've
the
talked
City
about
Museum
this
is not a
before.
museum.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, I think, but yeah, the City,
City Museum
is
is basically
Well, I'm
an
gonna tell
adult
the story
playground.
again. It is. It's a
Yeah.
big playground, but
Yeah.
they also have some historical artifacts.
Yeah, they've got
there.
a weird little museum in there at one point.
It's more of
But
a
it's like a
St.
museum
Louis
where you can,
architecture museum, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like, look at this cool building. Anyway, jump off a 3-story building into a ball pit.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, because
Such a
last time
great
I was
place,
there was 3 years ago, but they had someone out front who was doing a restoration on some it was a corbel that had been on a building or something. But one of those big fancy, or a gargoyle or something, I don't remember, but they were doing a restoration on it so that they could then put it on the City Museum building.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's very
strange,
much
the
a
collection of things they
St.
have.
Louis.
It is impossible to describe to somebody who's never been there.
Yeah.
I can't.
I
Just
tried.
look up the City Museum. I promise it's cool.
I think, and I have to say, maybe it's just because I'm not a physically active person anymore. I thought it was way more fun when I was a kid because I was more physically active.
Oh yeah, it's horrible when you're an adult. I
Well,
mean,
and,
it's
I was gonna
fun,
say,
but,
I fit places.
The last time I went,
You almost got us stuck when we went.
when I went with you,
Yeah.
yes. Because Shelby likes to crawl through tunnels and then realizes that Shelby doesn't fit in tunnels.
Yeah.
Or tunnels dead end and then you have to backtrack, but you're crawling on all fours and it
Yeah.
just
But
you were,
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
or not even on all fours. One time I got stuck between the
You're
ceiling
literally
and
belly crawling.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought I think
And
that
that was when
I
I
was
was
just
little.
in the plumbing.
Yeah.
I don't think I was actually in the museum. I don't know, though, because I was, like, in between the ceiling and a bunch of pipes.
Yeah.
I was like, this doesn't seem right.
Am I supposed
was
to-
Right,
like,
and there's like this
"What
like
games?"
cage thing on the outside that you can just like you're on the outside of like you're like
Google
6
pictures
stories
of
up
this.
and you're like
Oh
yeah.
my god. Whenever I went with you, Shelby, whenever we went
Yeah.
in that, it was like an arch-shaped wire tube thing that we had to go across. And my
Yeah.
phone was in my pocket. So I was trying to
Oh,
walk
right,
like
right,
really,
right,
really
right.
carefully. I tore the shit out of my quad muscles. Like I couldn't, and that was like the first thing we did. So then the rest of the day I had to run around on torn muscles. And then, oh god, it hurts so bad.
I just remember the one time we went with that group in high school. It was me and Kyle Mitchell and Sean
I
like
think Aaron
raced.
went too.
Aaron was there, but the three of us like raced up the stairs, and it was like 5 flights
It's
of
a lot of
stairs
stairs, dude.
because
In the
we were like, we
caves?
can beat the elevator to the top because
No,
that's
like
what
the
you do
main-
when you're 14.
Yeah, the
Or
main
to the roof.
stairs.
Oh, yeah.
No,
that's
like
like
the
5 flights
stairs
of
up
stairs.
to the very roof, like where the
Yeah.
Ferris wheel
Oh,
and the
that's
bus
like 10
are.
or 12 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a
And
tall
we were trying to
building.
like, and the rest of you were in the elevator, and we were trying to like
Well, yeah.
beat the elevator, and that killed me.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the City Museum is really fun, but
It's
also you
so
will
good.
die.
Yeah, but again, it's
It's
more
the
fun
only
It's
as a
good
child.
if you're like 8 to 12 years old.
Also, you might break some fingers or get a concussion because the entire thing is concrete.
Yes,
I
concrete
have
and like metal
literally
pipes.
picked up 2-year-olds off the screaming
yeah.
2-year-olds off the floor, and I'm like, "Is this your baby?
It is
Can you
not
get them out of
safe.
here?"
Right.
I think I may have. I don't think I got a concussion, but I like because you know there's that whale, right? The beluga whale.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
been
yeah,
stuck
the
in that
whale,
fucking
yeah.
whale
I
before.
walked out from underneath the whale and the ceiling slopes, but it's white, so I couldn't tell that the ceiling
Oh,
was
no.
sloping, so I just walked right into the fucking ceiling.
My mom hit her head when, because the last time we went, it was like with my cousins, because they're younger, and we were like, this is a fun thing to do in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And so we took them, and my mom was in the, like, the cave caverny part,
I love
and
that
she,
part.
like, got so lost, and she ended up, like, hitting her head really hard. At one point,
then
all of
probably
us
was
adults were just like,
disoriented.
okay, we're just gonna hang out over here
Yeah.
and sit down.
There is
no.
a bar upstairs.
Yeah, there's a bar. Yeah,
Just
my
saying.
mom used
Yeah,
to
there's
take
a
us.
bar, like, been there.
Yeah, my mom used to take us, and she would just bring a book and just sit. Like, we weren't allowed to leave, like, the main part without her, but we were little, and there's just so much shit, even in just the main part, that wasn't
Right,
a
like,
problem.
there's so much to do.
Yeah, she would just bring a book, and then every few, like, she'd be like, as long as you check in, like, twice, I don't really care what you do.
Right.
Yeah. Because,
If
like,
you
you
have
can't
a
watch your
crazy,
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have like a crazy hyper child,
Yes.
release them in there for an afternoon and they will
Seriously.
sleep for days.
Well, because
It's
there's
literally
that
like
part.
12 stories of just like every floor is something different.
Well,
and
'cause,
it's
like-
so fun.
yeah, 'cause, like,
they
there's
have the one that's basically like a skate park.
That was what I was gonna say. It's like the skateless skate park. It's got these ramps and like ropes and shit everywhere you can run around.
It's
Now
basically-
they
you
have
can
the
do
stuff on the-
parkour.
Yeah.
There's a circus in there.
Yeah, there's a
like,
circus in
functioning
there.
circus.
They have an entomology museum in there.
Yeah.
They do. And
Along with
and
the
an art
architecture
studio.
museum.
Yeah, there's like an
Like,
arts and crafts
it's-
station. Is that aquarium still in there?
Yeah, there's an
Okay.
aquarium.
Yeah.
I can't remember. There's the
There's
shit
like
on the
Ferris wheel
roof.
by
on
the
top.
bar there's like this
So much shit on the
weird
roof.
like Alice in Wonderland fever dream section.
Yeah.
that
That is my favorite part. It's so cool.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
like the
it's actually a
arcade?
library. Did you know that?
Yeah.
it's a library, but it's like so like everything on the walls. It's just like there's
It's,
so
like,
much to look
psychedelic
at and
and
take in.
weird.
It's like overstimulation, but
Is
I
that
love
the part
it.
that's also kind of, it looks almost like an arcade, kind of, and it's got like
Yes.
an ice
Yeah.
cream place in it randomly?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a bar.
Yeah, and that's where the
Yeah,
bar
it's
is.
like
Yeah.
it's like a bar and gelato or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I miss being
It's-
able to do things at the City Museum.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, COVID probably killed their
Anyway,
business.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, can you imagine all the
God.
surfaces that
Yeah.
you can't touch anymore?
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was saying was, at the City Museum,
They have
with
the
all that
cross.
architecture
Yeah.
shit, they had the cross from that. I almost
The
said hotel,
Alexian
from
Brothers?
from
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah.
The hospital. Yeah.
And they had a little plaque next to it that said, "This is from the site of where the story that was the basis of the film of The Exorcist was to place. I don't know. They had it worded better than that. But anyway, I was like, oh, that's so cool. And, like, you can touch everything in the City Museum. There's no, like, it's not like a museum. It's like, you
they don't give a
take
shit.
this piece of famous art and use it as a Frisbee. Like, it doesn't matter. So,
really, though.
I touched it, and I was like, I'm touching the cross that had the thing with the Exorcist. Emma lost her shit. I was there with all of my sisters. It was like, my parents were like, here's,
but Emma's the,
like, $100,
medium.
get out. Emma she was, like, having a panic. She's like, you can't do that! And so then she made me, in the City Museum, Google a picture of Jesus. All 5 of us put our finger on Jesus' face and said a Hail Mary, because Emma thought
I vaguely recall you telling me that at one point.
I think you've told that on
happened.
the show before. That's okay. It's still a good story.
No,
yeah.
Sorry, it's a funny thing.
But it wasn't, like, related to The Exorcism.
No,
so,
it wasn't.
Like,
I don't even remember what the context was that we talked about this before.
No, but I vaguely recall that story.
Yeah.
That, or
we didn't go into this
Emma
much
just makes
detail.
you do Hail Marys all the time.
Yeah, and Emma's not even Catholic, so, like, I don't...
Yeah.
Look, Emma knows.
But she knows, she's got her little freeze-dried. I've been on the ethereal plane, fingers and everything, so...
Oh my gosh. Okay, but yeah, so he's in the Alexian Brothers Hospital. It's 4 weeks worth of exorcisms. The priest, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so Halloran, he was the one who was called in afterwards to, like, help out. He reported that during the ritual, words such as hell and evil appeared carved into Roland's skin. Yeah. So, and then during the Litany of the Saints, which I don't know what that is.
It's part of the Mass.
Okay. During that part, the mattress began to shake, and then at one point, Roland got, like, super violent, and he actually ended up breaking Halloran's nose.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then hospital... Hi, Maisie.
Maisie does not approve of that turn of events, apparently.
Ooh, Maisie.
She hasn't barked all day.
What is happening?
So, of course, she barks
It's time for
now.
bark.
Somebody's probably outside.
Probably.
She's fine.
That's okay. Okay, so the hospital staff claimed that during the exorcisms, like throughout that 4 weeks, they would hear loud noises and names being called down the hallways of the hospital, like even hallways where, like, he wasn't, and then it would be like no one was there, but they would, like, hear someone calling their name, sort of thing. And they reported that right outside of Roland's room and in that hallway, there were horrible odors, and then the area in his room and around it was significantly colder than the rest of the hospital.
Great.
I know it's like a thing where demons always smell like sulfur, but it just cracks me up that, like, I'm so evil, but I smell like a bad fart.
Right. It's like I smell like a rotten egg, but here we go. Oh my gosh. When we moved back to the States, when we moved to Florida after Australia, we stopped in New Zealand for like a week or two. I don't remember. I was 5. But the one thing I remember about New Zealand, and this is like the only thing I can remember, is that we did a tour of the sulfur fields.
Ew.
Why?
And it was so bad. And, like, that's why I remember it, because, like, anytime I smell anything slightly sulfuric, I'm just like, oh.
New Zealand.
Oh my god, I just had a memory. Okay,
like, this is, like, New Zealand is one of the most beautiful places on the planet, and all I can remember is sulfur.
It's a big fart. That's exactly how Montana is. Or not Montana, but, like, if you go to Yellowstone. But I was going to say, I just had another memory that is of something that you can never do now because of COVID, and probably you can't do it anymore because of, like, it wasn't the 90s anymore. But when we lived in Germany, we went to a salt mine somewhere, and it might have been in Poland. I don't know. But anyway, they told you, like, halfway through, they're like, okay, and here's a spot where there's, like, an exposed vein of salt or whatever. They're like, go ahead and lick the wall.
Oh my god. That's like kissing
Literally
the
everyone on
Blarney
the tour
Stone or whatever. I'm
Seriously.
like, ew.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like licked the wall, and later on, it might be in Poland because there's like a big church in this salt mine. I remember now. But I was like, well, no one's looking, so I'm gonna lick the wall again, and it was rock. I was really disappointed.
That is such a like child brain thing to do.
I was like, no one can see me lick this wall.
I didn't have permission for this one.
You can't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Rock formations I can and cannot lick.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, once the exorcism was complete, the priest locked the door to the room. Like, after Roland was, like, out of the room and everything, the priest locked the door to the room, and then ordered that it never be opened again. So.
Cool.
That was a thing.
Probably super convenient for the hospital. That they just lost a room.
They're like, it's cool, it's fine. So Roland actually went on to return to Maryland, and supposedly, by all accounts, for people that do know who he is, he had a normal and a good life. He had a wife and kids, and just, had a normal everyday life up in Maryland. Mm-hmm. And supposedly he has little to no memory of the exorcisms or the possession.
Yeah.
Why can I not say that word? Okay. So eventually, the building, the Alexian Brothers Hospital, was demolished, as Hannah said. It was to make way for a parking lot.
Of fucking course it was.
Most things are in St. Louis.
I think I know exactly where it is too. It's isn't it like right the street behind the parking lot for the Fox Theater?
Yes.
Yeah, I
believe so.
Yes.
I believe so. Yeah, that sounds right. I know it's in that general area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it is. Was.
And then so when they were demolishing the room, a priest went and unlocked the room so that the construction workers could remove the furniture. Mm-hmm. And when they did that, they ended up finding a diary that was dated April 29th, 1949. And it was one of the priest's diary. And so it has like his firsthand account of what happened during the exorcism. That's really cool. That was not found when the book was written. So it was found like afterwards. So and I honestly don't know what happened to that diary. I could not. But again, I am trash at research, so I didn't look very hard.
Yeah. Why would he leave it there? Like, was it an accident or?
Probably.
Seems like
because it was just like in the bedside table, and it was probably that he was like so tired from 4 weeks worth of exorcisms that he was just like, whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He was like, I'm packing my bags, I'm going home.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so that supposedly exists. And then the crew that demolished the building actually reported multiple issues that happened in the process of tearing down the building. So at one point they had the wrecking ball and they were having a hard time controlling it, and they actually ended up hitting the building next door, which was like a brand new building.
Whoops.
Yeah. So, and they had like never had issues with it before. So that happened, and then the parking lot where the hospital once stood continues to have recurring cracks in the exact spot under where the exorcism room was.
Cool.
So basically, like, they'll go in and like fill the cracks and it'll just like re-crack, but it's always like in that exact spot. So
to be fair,
you know,
we have a whole lot of spots like that, and they're just on top of a mine.
I was gonna say, that was my thought. I was like, St. Louis is just a really like,
it's not a stable ground area. Like,
we don't have stable ground in this state.
No.
Okay?
Also, we're due for like a massive earthquake to come and kill us.
Yeah.
Up there on that New Madron line.
Yeah.
Fault.
I was gonna say, we're due for another earthquake that like
we're due for
puts
a
the
big
Mississippi
one, too.
backwards again.
Yeah. Hannah, were you here whenever we had the earthquake?
No, because that was 7th, 8th grade.
No.
We were
okay,
Mr.
I didn't
Schultz's
think
class,
so.
But we had an earthquake in Montana around the same time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
However, I would just like to say that my cat just hit her head so hard against my door she made herself sneeze.
Poor baby.
Oh my gosh, Peppa.
Well, it's locked, you idiot. I don't.
She
It's
just
been
wants to
locked for
get
the past
in.
hour. Okay, well, no.
Okay, I'm almost done.
Okay.
So, with all of that being said, nowadays, very few of the events actually have supporting evidence. So, most people who research like this exorcism believe that Roland was either mentally ill or just merely seeking attention.
Yeah.
And that the quote unquote experts he saw for treatment saw what they wanted to see, essentially. So, like, he went to a mental health person, that person, like, I think he went to like a psychiatrist or something at one point. That person said he was mentally ill. They went to the priest said he was possessed, kind of thing. Like, he was presenting symptoms of some sort, and every like expert that he went to, whatever field that they were the expert in, they saw something related to that in him, sort of thing. So it's hard to say because obviously we don't really have good records of what actually happened. But the one priest that had been called in, Halloran, he was one of the last surviving eyewitnesses to the events, and he was interviewed by an author, Thomas Allen, and during that interview, he, quote, this is like a direct quote, he expressed his skepticism about potential paranormal events. And then when he was asked to verify that Roland had been possessed, Halloran stated, quote, "No, I can't go on record. I never made an absolute statement about the things because I didn't feel I was qualified." Which to me is a very like cop-out answer. But basically he's saying that he can't confirm or deny whether Roland was possessed because he is not qualified to make that distinction. So he is just not going to make a statement on it. But he is kind of skeptical on whether he was actually possessed or not.
And if you could remind me, this priest, was he one of the main ones or the one who was brought in later for extra help?
He was the one who was brought in later for extra
Okay,
help.
that makes more sense.
Yeah. So he didn't see all the stuff in the beginning. He was brought in later.
Yeah.
So he's a little skeptical. All of that.
Yeah. Well,
Again,
and like,
hard to say what's really going on.
I mean, that's always the question with possession is...
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's
this
not like
mental
it's something
illness?
you can prove. Like,
Yeah.
you can't
Well,
see
then,
a
too,
demon,
it
and
was-
it's just like,
Yeah, like it was 1949, like
yeah,
psychology is still a very new field now, and it was even newer then. And
Yeah.
like, if I remember correctly, they were still working off of exorcism rites and practices that had been in place since like the 1600s. Those weren't updated until 1969.
yeah.
Don't
So
judge.
like,
Yeah, so it's all very like up in the air.
yeah. And
Basically, my last statement was that there's no definitive proof that exists that he was possessed, but there's no proof to say that he wasn't.
Yeah.
And no one is willing to definitively claim one way or the other. And
Well,
all eyewitnesses are now
yeah.
dead.
I mean,
So,
nobody can claim one way or another either.
right,
You know?
it's
So
one of those things that, like, could it have been a mental illness? Sure. Could he have been looking for attention? I guess. But, like,
That
how
would
do
have
you
been-
explain all the other weird phenomenon?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a long time to just, like, I mean, I guess his aunt died and they were friends or whatever. They were, like, really close, and so he could have just had, like, a mental
Just
break or something.
Yeah, some
but,
kind of psychosis or something. But
yeah, and,
Well,
like,
that's
his
the-
grief or whatever. But,
yeah, just like stuff like that.
and, like, I mean, we don't have,
It's-
like, picture proof of, like, things being
Yeah.
carved into his skin. Like,
I
it's
mean,
all hearsay at this
yeah.
point, so, like,
Yeah.
we don't know.
Well, and like the most common thing that you would think is possession, we now recognize usually as schizophrenia. But
Yeah.
schizophrenia in children is vanishingly rare. And when you do
Yeah.
have it, you have it forever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not,
Mhm.
at least from what I understand, it's not a childhood only illness that you grow out of if you even do have it as a child, because it in and of itself is a really weird disorder in that it doesn't appear until you're 20, 22.
Yeah.
Schizophrenia is weird.
And the whole thing of, like, he went home and, like, lived a normal life, has no memory, to me that sounds more like dissociation or, like, a psychotic break of some sort.
Yeah, exactly.
But it could also be possession, like,
Yeah.
if you believe in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it really, really could just be one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fairly common in possession, I guess, victims, that they don't remember. But again, they could all just have some kind of mental illness. And
I was gonna say, like, I have years of my life that I don't remember because I dissociated.
I don't remember any of my childhood. Like, it's gone. Like,
yeah,
it's not because I was
like, I've got like 2 years or so that are missing. So I just, it is what it is.
All of it gone. You know? Like, it's just not there. Yeah. Hannah, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure the church's official stance on like, exorcism now is that it is a completely last resort option and that you should seek medical professionals first because you most likely are suffering from some kind of mental illness. And
it's
also,
basically, if absolutely nothing in the real world works, we can try an exorcism.
Yeah, because then they either, you know, depending on what you believe, they say that then yes, you are possessed, or maybe you just think that you're possessed, and by performing an exorcism, you will be cured.
Yeah,
of what
it's
you,
like
what you think you have.
And I mean, that may have
for
been
whatever,
what
like,
here, you know,
whatever, like, mental health issue that you are dealing with has caused you to, like, you wholeheartedly believe that you are possessed, and like,
And
it's
I don't
been
know if you
shown
guys
that,
know
like,
this.
if you believe something, like, then you will exhibit traits of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because possessions manifest differently in different cultures as well.
Yeah.
So does schizophrenia.
Well, and if your parents are sitting there, like, you're a 12-year-old boy, and your parents are going, oh, you're definitely possessed, like, you've got the demon, like, the devil inside of you, blah, 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 and, like, yeah, as a child, you're gonna, like, you're getting that attention, and so, like, yeah, you're gonna keep exhibiting those things, and you start to believe it, because every adult around you is telling you that that is what is wrong with you.
Yeah. Well, then, like,
so,
yeah, like you were saying, Hannah, how they look different, like, with schizophrenia, like, within Western culture, you know, a lot of people with schizophrenia have auditory hallucinations, or they have those voices in their head that are telling them things. In Western culture, they are overwhelmingly negative voices, but in Eastern culture, they're not.
Yeah.
It's really, really weird. And then, like, even with schizophrenia, like, you often have delusions of grandeur, and one of those is, I am Jesus Christ, or I was touched by Jesus Christ, or I am somehow super important religiously. And there's usually, like, for a lot of people, at least, again, in Western culture with schizophrenia, especially if they were raised in a Christian family, a lot of it tends to take on, their delusions tend to be religious, which is interesting, too.
Religious-based,
Yeah, which is really interesting, too. Yeah. I don't know. I lean more...
Hashtag society.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just weird.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of lean more towards, like, that he had some sort of, like, mental condition going on, but...
Like, mine a lot, I mean...
Possession is just such a weird... Like, it's a hard topic to, like, wrap your mind around.
Yeah.
Like, fully, and so, to me, personally, I'm not saying it's not a thing that happens, but for me, it just feels...
It just seems like it can be explained by other things more... concretely.
Yeah, in this specific case.
Especially in this specific case, yeah.
From what we do know, it seems that you can, I can't think of words, but, like, categorize it more in, like, he's got something, like, mental health-wise going on as opposed to a demon.
Yeah.
Then explain why my sister made me Google a picture of Jesus and say it.
That's because the cross is cursed. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows what Emma saw, okay? The City Museum is a spooky place.
Yeah.
It's got lots of old artifacts. You never know.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with fairy rings? Shelby, I know you are.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
Shannon?
Yeah. 100%. You do not step inside
No,
them.
you don't step in those things.
My little bitch sister, no offense, Emma, had me convinced for years that she stepped into a fairy ring because we were all playing at our friend's house, and she stepped into, I was like, don't step into that circle, and she's like, why not? I was like, it's a fairy ring, you'll go to the other place, blah blah blah. And
Right,
she was
like,
like,
you'll
oh,
never
okay.
come back.
Yeah, and she stepped into it, and
So she's a changeling.
maybe but we like turned around, and when we looked back, she was gone. And she was gone for like a solid 10 minutes, and we were like, oh my god.
That's amazing.
And we like looked for her everywhere in this yard, and we could not find her. And then eventually she came out, and she was like, I was with the fairy.
Oh my god.
Really? And so like for years and years and years, until like very recently, I was convinced. And then she was like,
I'm
yeah, I
kind
was
of
just hiding.
convinced.
She was like, I was just hiding behind the boat. I was like, okay, fuck you, I guess.
Right?
That's funny.
No, she's a changeling 1000%.
Okay.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's all I got for you.
All right.
So, the house that they originally stayed in St. Louis before they like took him to the hospital and everything still stands. I had the address at one point, but for some reason didn't put it in my notes. But I am going to visit it
Shelby.
at some point. So
Seriously, road trip.
yeah, we're doing it. And then we can stop by the City Museum, see the cross, just
Mm-hmm.
do all the Exorcist things. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
We're on the Exorcist tour.
Yep. We'll just
Oh my
bring
God, we
some
should start
sage and some of Hannah's holy water.
I have a lot.
Yep.
You do.
Did I send you guys the
in
picture
little water
that what my
bottles.
grandma sent to me yesterday?
Little
Yes, you
plastic
did.
water bottles.
Yes, you did.
How she's
Hannah.
gonna
Yes, they're
splash you
in-
with holy water?
Yeah.
Yes. My grandma sent me a text because I told her that I fell down the stairs, and she said that she was sprinkling me with holy water. Yes, all of
Digitally
the holy
sprinkling you
water
with holy
in my
water.
house. One is in an actual holy water
Canister.
container, bottle. I don't know. All the rest are in decanter. What's that called? Essential oil diffuser. Anyway,
Yeah.
essential Jesus diffuser, Holy Spirit diffuser. Actually, it's a practical.
Oh my god.
But most of them are just in a big plastic, like regular water bottles that just say "Do not drink holy water."
Can confirm, have seen them.
Yep.
They're around.
Well, apparently you need those
They're
at
like
your
the
place
cheap,
now.
like,
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Yes. Did I tell that story about the thing on the stairs?
I don't think.
Yes.
Did you? Yeah,
Yeah.
you must
Sound,
have
but-
because you told us. So. Yeah.
Yes. When else would I have spoken to you?
I mean, literally though, we don't like actually physically talk with each other unless we're recording. Usually.
I was gonna say we
text
usually don't
each other all
talk
day.
much. Our group chat is a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Memes
I
about
wouldn't say
Bernie
that.
in his mittens.
Like we have conversations, but not like vocally.
Right.
Well, today I did send a voice
Yeah,
message.
sometimes we get voice
because
messages.
Chuck Schumer said that Trump caused an erection.
Yes.
I heard it on NPR.
Yeah. And then,
my
like, I had to call Hannah last week to be like, how do I edit your interview? I don't know what to do. But other than that, like...
And I said, heh,
Yeah.
neither do I.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Well-
all I got for you. So
Okay.
road trip to the Exorcist house and Hospital Cross, and that's it. I don't know when that's gonna happen because none of us live. Well, I live here, but you guys don't.
And
COVID,
you
and
won't
we
be.
can't go to the City Museum.
yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be 5 years from now. Remind me, okay?
Yep.
Perfect, I'll put it in my calendar.
Yes. So our ending is that we have no ending. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Triad. Our music is by Scott Buckley. Our audio is recorded by our sound engineers, Craig Bott and Audrey Credo.
If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Tumblr as The Triad Podcast. Our website is thetriadpodcast.wordpress.com. There, you can find information about our latest episode, including the show notes and sources.
We're also on Patreon as The Triad. Currently, all Patreon funds will go towards the cost of hosting the show. Each tier has its own rewards, but every patron receives our undying gratitude. Do you have comments, questions, or stories? Email us at thetriadpod@gmail.com. And thank you again for listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive.